She never said outright, not at first, but the message rang louder than any spoken word. I meant nothing to her. At first, I dismissed it as my own overthinking. Maybe I was being sensitive, misreading her silences, misjudging the way her eyes barely met mine, or the way her words had begun to sharpen at the edges. I told myself it was a phase, a rough patch all couples go through. I convinced myself it would pass. But as the weeks slipped by and her coldness became the new normal, the truth stared me in the face with an unblinking gaze I could no longer ignore. I didn't matter to her, not in the way someone should matter to the person they love. It started with little things. The kind of little things you try not to read too much into. The impatient sigh when I asked how her day went. The emotionless fine that closed the door on conversation. The increasing number of unanswered messages. Or worse, the ones replied to with a dismissive whatever. She began disappearing for hours without a word, and when I asked, I got vague responses or none at all. I thought maybe work was draining her. Maybe something weighed on her mind that she didn't know how to express. I gave her space. I tried to be patient. I told myself love required understanding, and I had plenty to give, but space turned into distance. Distance turned into silence, and silence eventually became a vast emptiness, one where love had once lived. I remember the afternoon everything fell apart, the way some memories burned themselves into your mind forever. I came home early from work, wanted to surprise her, not with flowers or gifts, but with the one thing I thought we truly needed, a conversation, a moment to connect, to reach across the ever-growing gap between us. I wanted to fix it. I wanted to fight for us. But when she saw me standing in the doorway, there was no surprise on her face, no softening, just annoyance, as if I had interrupted something important. She barely looked up from her phone and said flatly, "What do you want?" Those 4 words cut deeper than any fight we had ever had. I stood there frozen, pulse thundering in my ears, mouth dry, trying to summon something, anything, that would undo this distance. But before I could speak, she set her phone down and looked me dead in the eye. "You're nothing to me anymore. Just stop pretending this means anything." Her words shattered something inside me. It felt like the world tilted and dropped out from beneath my feet. I had built so much of my life around her, around us, and in one sentence, she reduced it all to dust. No fight, no explanation, just apathy, cold and sharp. I wanted to beg her. I wanted to ask what had changed, what I had done wrong. I wanted to plead for a second chance. But somewhere deep within me, something broke, and that break became clarity. After everything I had given, after all the times I held on while she pulled away, I realized I couldn't do it anymore. So I didn't. I stopped texting her first. I stopped asking if she wanted to make plans. I stopped searching her face for traces of the woman I once loved. I stopped giving my heart to someone who treated it like a burden. Instead, I retreated into myself. I went quiet, not out of bitterness, but survival. The silence that once felt unbearable slowly became a cocoon where I could finally breathe. At first, the emptiness was suffocating. The nights felt longer, the silence around the dinner table almost painful. But with time, something unexpected happened. I started to feel peace. Real, unshakable peace. I began to reconnect with friends I had drifted from. I picked up the guitar again, an old hobby I'd abandoned in the noise of trying to fix a crumbling relationship. I started going to the gym, not to win her back, but because I wanted to feel strong. For me, I wasn't trying to prove anything to anyone anymore. And people noticed. They asked if I was okay, if something had happened. I couldn't bring myself to tell them the full truth, that I had been slowly erased from the heart of the person I loved. But I was learning something more important, how to live without the need for her validation. Then, one evening, weeks after I had emotionally stepped away, she came to me. There were no tears, no grand apology, just a strange look in her eyes, part regret, part panic. She said she missed what we had. Missed me. She asked if we could try again, if I could find it in my heart to forgive her coldness, her words. She spoke like someone waking up too late, reaching for a connection she'd already buried. But I had changed. I looked at her and felt Calm, not anger, not hatred, just the weight of everything unsaid finally settling into its rightful place. I told her, gently but honestly, I'm not the same person anymore, and I'm not sure I want to be. She left that night, and maybe she never truly understood what she lost. But I did. I had lost someone who saw me as disposable, who took my love for granted. But in the rubble of that heartbreak, I found something far more valuable, myself. And that, in its quiet way, was the most powerful turning point of all. There was no dramatic ending, no slammed doors or shouted regrets, just a slow, steady rise from the ruins. I rebuilt my life on my terms. I stopped trying to be something for someone who couldn't even see me. I started becoming someone for myself. If there's anything to be learned from what I went through, it's this. Never allow someone to convince you that you're worthless. Because your worth isn't measured by how they treat you when they're tired of loving you. It's defined by the way you carry yourself when no one else is clapping. So if you're sitting there feeling invisible, unloved, forgotten by someone who should cherish you, know this. You don't have to stay. You don't have to keep reaching for someone who no longer reaches back. The moment you stop chasing the love that left you behind and start choosing yourself instead, that's when the healing begins. That's when your story truly starts.